I think there's two things that like I think work against human replacement. One is humanity's desire to be involved. There's like a drive for involvement that people have, and so like that's why did people start making art or crafting objects? Like, and we're always going to want to do something, and so I think there's that part is that we don't really want that. Um, and the other part is, like I said, the use of the tools until we get like, businesses that are just fully run by sort of humanoid robots that are powered by AI. We need people to choose where to use what tools. And in the same way that any tool is an extension of our capabilities, whether that is like, a printing press or it's an LLM, I think that will continue for at least some time. So if we understand that, then it's important. And to be honest, what I've seen from people in companies using AI so far, not startups with ideas about what AI can do, but people using AI inside of a company, it's so not advanced that I think that before we go to the crazy ideas, people need to start to understand and get comfortable with the medium. Like, what can I actually do here? How can I start to manipulate this for my benefit? It's like when Google first, launched, people weren't good at Googling for stuff, or maybe how to use a library. How do I even use a library system? It's a bit like that. I think we're a little bit still there with AI on like day-to-day business for the average person. We often, I think, there's a bit of a red herring when big, startups start doing really crazy agentic stuff and saying, okay, you don't need to do anything anymore, because that's a very small subset of the working world of people. And that world still has a lot to catch up on in terms of even feeling comfortable with using the tools at all.
Yeah, true. It's basically a new any new technology comes with new type of interaction, new type of behaviors that should be like you need to train the users, is the expectations, of course. And that might take some time, but I feel like it's gonna happen very fast,
Sure.
I wasn't thinking like this, but when I see what's happened in the last 2 years and the competition that is happening right now between big companies that are leading AI industries, I feel like if no one can regulate them, then we're going to end up in this huge competition that, hey, this week we have this feature, next week we have this technology.
Yeah. I mean, it goes back to it. Interestingly, for me, it brought up a lot about the personal data stuff that I was working on in the past. I wrote white papers on why personal control over personal data is better, and human-centric personal data models make sense. Those things coming up again because the agentic AI in particular, but a lot of AI features work best when they are fed with a ton of information. They get the context, right? And in some projects, that's easy. You can just feed it with a folder, and then it has the things. But if it's about your life and you want like an agentic,
it is a scary
thing to help you out, it needs to know a lot about you. And so it brings up a lot of those things about, well, what data should it have access to? Who controls that data? Is it on device? Is it not on device? And so on. And so that I hope that will start that discussion again, because those answers were not given at the time. They still don't exist now. And so I hope it's another opportunity for us to find solutions for that. But as you say, if it continues completely unregulated, I think there are a lot of red flags there in terms of what that means for personal data moving forward. But that's a whole other discussion. I think that we could have a whole multi-series.